plant community. Are you ready for the finals? Hello plant community, I'm Pam, and if you're new, welcome to this channel. And for those of you that's been following me and watching me, thank you for tuning in to the 2022 PEMA Championship Finals. That's correct, the 2022 PEMA Final Championship. Plants everyone is mad about. If you haven't had a chance to check out my round 1 and round 2 series, I strongly recommend that you do so. Now, what we did do to recap, for those of you that's tuning in for the first time, I had a chance to have my family participate where they actually picked 4 plants from my collection that they felt spoke to them directly. And between the 4, between myself, my daughter, my son, and my husband, we had 2 plants that entered the semifinals and then the final round. So we're just going to do a recap real quick before we do go into the 2 plants that did make it to the finals. We'll start with the semifinal round from my 4 picks. My 4 picks out of the winner in the semifinal round was actually the Silver Splash versus the Monstera Adansonii. For obvious reasons, Monstera Adansonii grew very lush for me. It's a very tall plant in my collection versus the Silver Splash, which is the very beautiful plant with the silver hues and the green matte finish on the back. The winner between the 2 of those plants was my Monstera Adansonii. Now the semifinal, the 2 plants that entered the semifinals for my daughter pick was the Hoya Carrii and the Philodendron Micans. The Micans for obvious reasons, for that velvety texture, the long trails that you see, as well as the beautiful copper tone in the back. Now the Hoya Carrii, who can resist a Hoya, right? Hoya is one of my favorite plants out of my collection. I love the heart-shaped leaves, the thickness of the actual leaf, as well as the stem, and it's been growing vigorously. The winner between those 2 plants happened to be the Micans. So it was my daughter Micans, Philodendron Micans versus my Monstera Adansonii. We did a recap, and the winner between the 2 that made it in the final round happened to be the Philodendron Micans. So let's give a round of applause again for the Philodendron Micans entering into the finals. Now, with Battle 2, it was my husband's plants versus my son's plants. Now, my husband plants, the ones that entered the final, the semi-final, was the Fatsia japonica and the Sansevieria fernwood. Let's take a look at the fernwood. It's a very architectural piece. Its point leaf structure is very beautiful with the little splashes of the white. And then you have the Fatsia japonica. The shapes of the leaves are beautiful, along with that subtlety of the variegation in each leaf. Now, the winner between the 2 was actually the Fatsia japonica. Now, my sons, out of my sons' 4, the 2 that made it into the semifinal round was the Peperomia Hope and the species of the Calathea that you guys see before you. Now, let's talk a little bit about that Calathea. It's a very beautiful plant. The velvety leaves is very full, very compact. It's very easy care amongst all of the Calatheas that I've had in my collection. It doesn't seem to be given too much of a fuss. Now you have the Peperomia Hope. Who can deny this? The trails on this plant, the succulent leaves, along with the beautiful thick stems. It's been growing vigorously in my collection, and it's a very beautiful plant and very full and trailing very lusciously long. Now the winner between those 2 plants that entered the final was the Peperomia Hope. Now we had the Peperomia Hope that entered the semifinals versus the Fatsia japonica. Between those 2, the one that actually entered the final round, you guys, was the Peperomia Hope. So let's give a round of applause to the Peperomia Hope for actually entering the final rounds. Now we have the Peperomia Hope versus the Philodendron Micans. Let's do a real quick recap. Both plants are very easy care. Both plants like to dry out. The Peperomia Hope thrives under bright, indirect light, and it will grow vigorously for you. It will let you know when it needs water because the leaves on this plump, juicy succulent of a plant will shrivel up to let you know that it needs a drink. The Micans is a little bit more easier care than I would say the Peperomia Hope. You can pretty much put it in almost any light condition. It does not like direct sun, but indirect bright sun will do it fine as long as you make sure that it's way pushed back from the window, because the leaves are so beautiful that it can actually burn or perhaps bleach the color of the leaves. But it's a very beautiful plant. It will let you know as well when it needs water because the leaves will curl completely up. You give it a good thorough drink and wait a couple of hours and the leaves will flatten back out. And who can resist the actual color of the leaves in the front with that very subtle different shades of the green that it provides, and of course that copper back or that reddish hue back in the leaves. And it's trailing, both plants are trailing beautifully into my collection and has been growing vigorously under my care. So you tell me, guys, which one would you pick for the championship of the 2022 PEMA? Plants everyone is mad about. So the winner, you guys, drum roll please. The winner of the 2022 PEMA Championship goes to, if you guessed it, guys, you guessed right. It's the Philodendron Micans. Everybody give a round of applause. Philodendron Micans is definitely one of those plants that everyone is mad about. I'm not surprised that it didn't win the championship. It deserves its crown. And hopefully every one of you that's been watching this segment that I've been doing can agree. It's a very beautiful plant. Everyone is mad about it. Everyone is sorting after this plant. It's kind of hard to get your hold of it, but when you do, you will be rewarded with the beautiful trails that you see before. So everybody give a round of applause again for the Philodendron Micans. Yes, yes. And so this will be pretty much conclude my series for the 2022 PEMA Championships. Once again, I thank you all for watching this series, and another shout out to my family. Without their participation of picking the plants out of my collection, I would not have been able to do this. So yeah, guys, once again, this is it for this series. And keep in mind, if you love foliage as much as I do, and you love listening to planting things, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Comment, like, subscribe, please. I appreciate any support you guys can give me. So enjoy your day wherever you are in the world. Until next time, much love. Bye.